Do you think Africa's underdeveloped?
It can be relative. I don't think there's like a one-size-fits-all type of thing.
I feel like saying Africa is very broad. Each country is different from the other one. Talking for the case of my own country, I wouldn't see it necessarily underdeveloped. There are some things that the country has been doing pretty good when it comes to looking at development into a political, social, and economical way. When it comes to political and economical perspective of development, it's still a bit unstable. But on the social side, compared to other countries in the continent, we are pretty good, especially when it comes to religions. We don't have tribalism. There are never wars based on tribes. If there's wars, it would probably be between two parties that are trying to run the country.
It is very common in the Western world or here to say Africa's underdeveloped. Like here, I think when American parents want to ask their kids to be grateful, they say there are kids in Africa who are hungry. Even though there are kids everywhere who are hungry, but it's always Africa. It was enforced by the white man. What do you think of that?
I agree very much.
They say I go home. We're home in Nigeria. There's certain things that we do that might look less than here. We're taking a shower with a bucket of water or something like that. Me personally, I enjoy my bucket showers. I like it. Saves water. It's not too much picking out. But I feel like you doing that sometimes just because that's how it's done there, it looks like less than because it's not normal here.
This whole definition of development clearly was not based on an African perspective. It was just implemented into us. I think there are 12 or 11 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Every time I look at those 12 goals, I just think, for some people, what people in this side may perceive as being underdeveloped, it's not seen as being underdeveloped back home. I can stay 1 month without electricity. I would thrive through the whole thing. I would not see it as, oh, this place is so underdeveloped. I want to leave. But for some people, they would not even be able to survive. I very much see it as a white man definition.
The fact that we're able to see it that way also comes from, we definitely had some privilege in the education we seeked and received that shaped our desensitization to brainwashing. Do you think many people believe in these development standards enforced by the West?
They don't. Every time I try to explain these things to my mom specifically, she thinks that I'm against white people, which I'm not. I'm just trying to open her mind a little bit to how the world we live in was shaped by the Western world.
I think like a lot of people back home think that the grass is greener on the other side, and they come here and then they realize that rent is $2,000 a month and it's not actually all rainbows and sunshine. Here they have like a preconceived idea of what development should be and what a better life can be.
Do you think the existence of this one-size-fits-all development hinders our development in the way we want it?
I don't think it necessarily hinders it. I think it can be a guide to how the country is going in general. You should determine their weak spots and work on that. Not necessarily say, okay, because the list is running water, everybody has to install a shower in the house. You have a lot of tribalism and a lot of wars and unrest because of religious backgrounds and tribal background. That would be something that we should work on, and y'all should be working on something else.
I'm very much pro my country making their own definition of what development would look like and try to implement it without having to follow the definition created by the Western world. I don't think it delays or makes it happen. I think it just makes it be stuck in the middle. It's a country trying to look at their own problem and trying to improve those problems and then trying to fit into other people's standards, other people's perspectives. So I think it's just stuck in the middle, trying to figure out which would be the best option to be done.
Do you think we can achieve this kind of development using a language that's not ours, in the language of the entities that enforce these one-size-fits-all development to begin with?
No, because you need to be able to connect to the people who are trying to inform and educate and give them knowledge to actually better the country. If you're not able to relate to them and talk in a language that they're able to understand, then there's a disconnect. I think it just depends on what the people in the country understand and speak, because we can acknowledge that colonialism has happened and impact of it has happened, and it leaves a long-lasting impact, whereas y'all generations down are still speaking Portuguese and the generations down we're still speaking English and French. We should go off that, not necessarily it has happened and it's happened, so use it to our benefit, and including the other languages as well, because even if it's English, like more so Pidgin English, the language that most people can understand.
And even the inclusion of other languages, also for the case of Mozambique, we have Portuguese as the first language, but then we have English and French. It's being they teach at schools. I guess guess it's just about making use of those languages for the country's own benefit.
I think we're too far gone to start changing
yes,
systems.
to start changing the system, there's no way this can happen.
Where there's a will, there's a way, but like it's looking very unlikely. These are things that are already integrated into people's lives. Like we are middle-aged people already, we've established ourselves. I don't think it's necessarily productive.
What do you think you could start with to start quote-unquote developing in our own terms?
First one would be remaking the high school, the books, the way some teachers teach. I know that it's hard for the same teachers to have a similar teaching style, but at least provide them
Core principles.
yes, when it comes to teaching. The second one would be the access for people to go to school, improving roads, public transportation, because not everyone has their own transport. The third one would be rebuilding the political system. I know this sounds very bad, but take all of them that are running the country. I feel like this generation can do much better, especially the ones who don't have family, that have some representation in the government, because usually those ones that have some representation in the government will try to live to their family members' standards and perspectives. Fourth one would be try to have the country running for their own resources. I don't think that would really happen. Most of the processed food, drinks, snacks in my country come from South Africa. Most of the products that are in my country are similar to the ones in South Africa, so it's not like my country is able to produce their own products. But then my country is the one that sends the raw materials to South Africa, and then South Africa only has to manufacture. The fourth one would fix the fifth one, because there's an ongoing war in the province above mine. And the reason why that war is happening is because people from that area where the war is going on feel neglected by the government, because the government's not really helping them when it comes to jobs. And they're seeing this new petroleum company being open, and most of the workers that are there are workers from outside, and they see that they're not being hired to go work at that place. So now there's a war going on, making jobs and opening more opportunities for the young generation would be something.
For me, I'd start with actually defining location within the country, because like people don't really have real addresses. So I feel like we need to define that first in order to start tackling like different systems like education and all those other things. And then number two, I think I'd invest in education in the sense that I would revive public schools and actually taxes coming back, guys. They do tax, but no one really pays taxes in Nigeria. And then I would tackle the natural resources area and have more factories that manufacture things from start to finish, from our raw materials to finish, and use our own resources within our country. So then I would also improve our tourism, because I feel like a lot of people want to come to Nigeria, but people end up going to Ghana because they don't know what they're doing with tourism. It's more safer there, and then you know where you're going, whereas here it's like you generally have to know somebody who lives in Nigeria to go there for vacation and to explore the place. I guess the fifth one would be public transportation. Things just come back to taxes. In general, the goal would be to reduce the disparity between the rich and the poor.